I think the most important thing to do is what you can do, what you will be consistent with and can make that commitment to. That's the thing that you want to do.
The city is great about that because I don't know if it's being a military city, so they're so used to people coming in and out. Instead of being so cutthroat and win.
Yeah.
It is just, they're very used to that. So they are, a lot of people since I've moved here are very embracing of, and a way of making you feel welcome. So when you find the groups, like this is happening here and seeing people come over and over, and whether they skip a week and like AJ said, I haven't seen you in a while, it's so good to see you again.
Yes.
You know, it's good because it's so welcoming.
Yeah.
And when people feel comfortable within the group, then they'll be more vulnerable and be able to share and then help each other, hopefully.
Some people in their business journey, they're going to need systems and processes, especially if they're going to take on human capital, whether or not that's in the way of virtual assistants, AI, agentic agents even, or, interns. And I say those three things because I feel like when you talk about human capital, everybody thinks bringing on employees. That's never necessarily the first step.
Right.
And definitely before you do that, you want to figure out your systems and processes.
There you go.
And how you're going to best leverage other people's time.
It may not work, but at least you went through some process of figuring out what doesn't work. So we know now. We've got that now, right? And we know what direction not to go. And we kind of understand, okay, we're going to recalibrate and we're going to turn it this way about this much, and then we're going to try this out.
And I think that's the beauty of this group because it takes that one person like Anjanette saying something, and it sparks and it goes. And Nathan probably walking away today thinking he's not alone.
100%.
Man, there was a lot of good stuff to unpack.
I felt like that.
I liked, in answer to my stuff, abstractification. I had never heard that word.
I hadn't either.
I don't know if Elizabeth made it up, but I liked the idea behind it.
I'm telling you, she's so sharp and just gifted.
Yeah.
And she has a conscientiousness for the things that I think matter for any business owner, any entrepreneur, any leader. And when you hear her speak, it's like fireworks are going off, but each one of those that's popping is something you probably need to write down so you can go apply it later. And I'm grateful for the things that she imparts in those moments because I can see where they align with either, things that I believe, things I'm trying to do, or ways that I think I want to coach somebody else.
Yeah.
So it was a lot. But going back to your question, and Maisie, I think you hit the question really well right out of the gate. And it almost felt like it was, I think the way I articulated it was the answer to the question is some form of relationship and network and system of referral, but it's all grounded, I think, in just the way that the relationships are established. I felt like that, and I didn't know if I was off in that. So what was the question?
So the abstractification was in kind of the delegating. I think this one was from AJ.
Yeah. AJ started that.
AJ had her pain point was, I'm having trouble and I feel like I need to delegate, and she didn't quite know how to.
Okay.
But Elizabeth kind of talked about, really from the technical sense, I think from her background, she was like, there's abstractification. More or less making it more abstract and giving people the creative liberty.
I'm thinking about your question for whatever reason.
Mine's
but
in
yes, AJ
yeah.
did say that, and then it was the abstractification. It's the thinking the process, writing the process down, and then being able to like execute on that process. Okay, that.
There was some weight in that. I like that.
But it brings up what you brought up, and even what the other guys brought up. It's that there's got to be a process, and a plan. But a lot of people, especially entrepreneurs, they've got to hit the ground running, and they got to go. But they don't find the time, or they feel guilty about taking the time to stop, pause, and go. But how is this going to happen? Unless someone makes them, like a coach. Or they come from marketing, and then you go, well, you're not there yet.
Yep.
Let's talk about your business first. That's usually one of my first questions. It's like, what are your goals? What are your 30, 60, 90, 1 year, 3 years? It's like what we learn like EOS. Because if you don't know that, really, how are you going to figure out?
Where do you go
from there?
so from in your sphere, are you doing that with the people that are coming through your doors, or the people that are sitting at your table? Are you walking them through 90-day plans?
Yes. I don't, at this moment, because of just, it's me, I do 90-day contracts with a lot of people.
Oh, that's
I
cool.
need to figure out, because things can change.
Yes.
And I've seen it already happen. But to me, it's like we go 90 because we're going to look at a short goal.
Okay.
And if we can hit it and it works, do we want to keep working with each other, or did you scale? And it's like, do I give it to Matt, right?
Yeah.
If it's like, no, I want to keep you. And I've had some people say, well, what do I owe you to stay with me? And I'm like, okay, well then, but things are going to change because now we're moving on to the next set of goals.
Right.
We're going to do them in steps.
Yes.
But same thing, it goes back to Elizabeth. You know, it's that process. Do we have that in writing? But that's how I treat my clients. It's 90 days, we figure it out.
Yeah.
And then where are we going from there? Because now 90 is, do we go a year?
Yeah.
Are we going a quarter? Like, how are we going to go to a point where I can say, fly, birdie, fly? Do you feel comfortable
Yes.
doing it on your own? Do you have someone working for you? Do you need an agency? Where are you in this?
Yeah.
So that's how I deal with my clients.
So the initial 90 days is almost like, it's not necessarily a diagnostic process.
But it kind of is.
But it kind of is.
And I want to make sure their foundations are set. And that's everything I always tell people. Let me just work on your foundations first. And let me just get through some of the myths and try to save you money. Like someone told me she just signed a contract for a magazine that has like a low distribution. Like, oh my gosh.
I have one of those clients.
It's like, what did you do? This is why I'm here. Just run it by me. You don't have to pay me a thing. Just tell me. Let me look at it and say, you shouldn't have done that.
Not a great idea.
Now, can you get out of it? No. I'm like, can you say this and get out of it? She's like, I tried. I'm like, you're paying $1,500 a month.
Ooh.
For the next year.
Well, at least it's only a year.
I know. And that's kind of how she said it too. And I'm like, but when you add that up, do you know what you could have been doing with that?
You're saying it could have been worse.
So I have a client, and we inherited her from a cookie cutter marketing agency that wasn't doing anything, but they set up a Google business profile and they were collecting the rewards.
See, and that's why I do what I do. Can't do it.
But then she also, like on top of that, when that contract ended, we found out as we were commencing our relationship, and she's been with us for over a year now, that she had paid for a local magazine distribution thing for an ad placement, not dynamic. So she gives them the artwork, or they'll come up with like a very stock imagey thing for 3 years. It wasn't fit, but the but and
that was a moment. That was definitely a moment.
No guarantees on anything, of course, right? Except all the impressions that they get, and it's a small little ad, so it's a few $100 a month that could have been well placed elsewhere.
Yeah.
So a part of the thing was like, okay, we'll at least do some artwork and let's make the ad marketable. Let's have an offer in there, and then let's do a dynamic QR code. Let's see if you're getting any traction. Nothing.
I know.
Like no scans or anything. And like these are good creatives, like in terms of the ads and stuff. But like her ad is, page 36 or whatever on this little thing in a magazine full of ads. Like it's not going to do a thing.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I hate that you're bound by that contract.
And there's no way.
But yeah, so we've worked with her on other strategies, and that's SEO, answer engine optimization. We overhauled the website, so now she shows up, and she's been doing well.
Oh,
but
so it's just now a branding piece. If someone happens to see it, they see it.
Oh my God, yeah, that's the thing. Wow. But yeah, I hate that.
Oh my gosh.
But back on the referral partner thing, and I think it was Nathaniel with Cool Dynamics, Heating and Air. He was trying to figure out kind of like, what does he do? Where is he in the journey? And I feel like he's trying to figure out his pain points. I feel like there's seasons in entrepreneurship, but I feel like the starting point for a lot of people should be getting a coach. Even if it's in a group setting, to kind of better understand even just the free resources in general, like, hey, these are some milestones. I think that was brought up.
Yeah.
These are some parts of that milestone you may want to hit first.
Yes.
Especially in your specific journey before you get here.
Yes.
Someone to kind of guide that, because it ends up being us sometimes, and sometimes it has to be a mutual exit. But it's nice to have a place to point them to.
That something about where he is that I feel like was a part of the beginning of the journey with the coaching, right? It was being around a lot of the more startup founders, people who you're going to inject and invest money into whatever the idea is, which to me just always has seemed like a really risky thing to do in the absence of having somebody who's going to walk alongside that person, because you're going to give the money to them, investor, whoever you are. How do you know that they have any clue what they're doing? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so for me, I kind of always felt like that should be something that goes hand in hand. If I'm going to give a certain amount of money, I'd like to be able to have some level of insurance for what it is that I'm going to invest here. And I think a coach is that insurance. And so I don't argue with it at all. But I also can see, I see, those other areas and those avenues where, Maisie and yourself, the two of you are these brilliant resources. And man, if a guy doesn't know who he's targeting, like if he has no idea of the customer profile, or she has no idea of, the market or its conditions, like, what are you really doing? Do you know what I mean? And I don't feel like as a coach we specialize in that per se.
Sure.
But I would know, hey, wait a minute.
You're not there yet in understanding your target audience.
You
should
bet.
speak to Maisie.
I can't tell you how many times. I mean, I called you yesterday about an opportunity where I said, hey, what you do, I can see as a coach, that needs to be implemented here. Mm-hmm. Whereas the same for you, we're sitting in the room and you're speaking and I'm going, oh, so-and-so needs to talk to Maisie about X, Y, and Z. Mm-hmm. And so it's, I don't know, you feel like a facilitator and you're just moving the right things over to the right places and hopefully doing it at the right time. But I think for people who are in a Nathan's position, I think a coach would be good. Yeah. But I would still, I feel good about the free resources he's getting right now. I think the community and the relationships are good. When we talked afterwards, it was refreshing to hear or to see that it looked like maybe a weight had been lifted off of his chest. I thought that was helpful for me to see it, and for him to have met and to heard from all of you. That was the part for me that was like, okay, something's working.
And I think that's the beauty of this group, because it takes that one person like Anjanette saying something, and it sparks and it goes. And Nathan probably walking away today thinking he's not alone.
100%.
Someone else has walked in these shoes. Yep. I'm not alone. I think she's going through it right now. Mm-hmm. And then you offered resources, which, with some people, you're not going to get that in groups. You're not going to leave.
Not until you get behind the paywall.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. There's free to a point, like you said. And then there's the paywall.
What is that, y'all? Like, why is that such a thing? I had a conversation 2 days ago with a dear friend, and he'd expressed this thought of wanting to do something. And he said, what I don't like is the pay-to-play system.
Yeah.
And the reality is I would rather give you a ton of value up front right now and earn your trust and get you to a place of what we could call graduation. Maisie, you said this really great. Get you to a place where you can fly on your own. Like, you're ready to fly. You're ready to leave the nest. Get you to that place. If it's your thought to come back and to want to do something steps beyond what we've just done after this graduation moment, after this fly baby bird fly moment, great. That's a different thing, and we're gonna. So, what is that? Is that desperation?
I think some of it's mindset.
Okay.
Because I think some of it might be that scarcity mindset, and I think right now, like the barrier to entry and building that know, like, and trust factor, the thing that most businesses are up against, especially probably in the coaching and marketing space, is everybody's got their guard up, because there's so many different avenues you can throw your money at that won't generate a return on investment. And I would say that's probably where the benefit is in getting with a coach who can help separate signal to noise ratio.
Yeah, that's great.
On the path that they're on. You're like, no, like, you could do that and you could get a benefit from that. You'll probably get more benefit from doing this first and then pulling this lever. And I think that would
yes.
be,
That's important.
What about that moment that we had in there? I think it was Elizabeth, and she had mentioned, it's like, I've got 35 cups. I've got to fill these 35 cups.
Yeah.
Which of these things do I do first? Yeah. Like, when do I do this? When do I do that? And I kind of thought it's a paradox, because in some ways there are things that you should absolutely be doing first.
Yeah.
And then in other ways it's, hey, this business is unique to you. Plus, it's not just a business. This is a startup. This is something that is a new idea. It hasn't been necessarily done before, and you are kind of the forerunner and pioneer. So
Gonna have to figure it out as you go.
Right?
Well, yeah.
But take notes, and you can build an app for that later.
Where did you guys fall on that when she said that?
I agree. And I don't know if part of it is she's talking from motherhood.
Yeah.
And I took it as that too.
Yeah.
You're trying to start this business. I don't know what she's using as a guide. Who's she following? Is she being coached? Like, what is she using as milestones? What is she following? But then also, I know she's going through home stuff, family. And so, I don't like bringing it up sometimes, but that is it. It's one of those things that drives me, is like, I don't want to burn out again. And I'm wondering if that is where she's kind of feeling, I have all these cups.
Which, the irony, she's in the prevention of burnout space.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I don't want her to get to that spot. But part of me was like, maybe it's the motherhood part that's going on with entrepreneurship, and it's just starting to feel overwhelming.
And I feel like, again, it's probably that first step of getting with the right connection who can help guide along that path along the way, because there's different levers to pull along the way. And some of it's going to look like documentation and building systems and processes and figuring out signal to noise. Like, I think I wrote that down, signal to noise, when Jen was speaking about intentionality with your time
That was
and your
good.
return on investment, and separating those things that are going to be most beneficial on the business long term and free up your time so you don't have to focus as much in the business. But when you're a subject matter expert in your field and you're the technician, like Nathaniel was talking about in heating and cooling, like, it's hard to really separate that, especially if you have a passion for it.
Yeah.
And I think the other balance is like, what do you like versus dislike? Because if you are the technician, there's going to be some stuff on the business you don't like, whether or not it's marketing or whether or not it's managing people.
Yeah.
And separating that out in the season of building the plane in flight with the right team.
Do you feel that, I don't know what she's following in steps, in process, as a process, but if she was served resources right away, like, I feel like maybe she's back there trying to figure it out on her own, because she said boot scrapping. So she's doing it all on her own, and that's a time suck in itself, and that can get overwhelming when you only have 24 hours in a day. So if there was like, okay, here, read this book, then do this next, and then this next, and I think that's what she's looking for, where she doesn't have to search for it. She can just go follow the step-by-step process, and it'll help her, and fill in the hole with the documentation she didn't know she needed.
Yeah.
There are all those little things she needs to know, like a checklist, and then she can feel better and do what she needs to do without things falling through the cracks even.
There's this thing in the church world that we do. And like, this is funny to me, but a pastor will always say something like, we're going to shift. Or when there's a shift. Like, it's this whole concept that really, I shouldn't say it this way, but I'm going to, kind of like, maybe I didn't prepare for this as well as I thought I should have. And I'm going to float over into where I feel comfortable. And we're going to sit here for a little while, and we're going to talk about this and do this and say these things. And I feel like she might need a shift. Like, she might need to just, because it's entrepreneurship and it's startup, and there's no true and tried way for this yet, because it hasn't yet been here. And I love the concept of what she's doing. And funny enough, there's the irony of, wow, like, she seems like she has experienced burnout, and that's what has fueled and what motivates her to have this product. And yet she is also trying to fight the same burnout that she's experienced while having a product that's for a burnout. Like,
Yeah.
this is interesting and great and beautiful. And because it hasn't been done, maybe she would benefit from a little bit of a shift in like, what do you think you should do next?
Yeah.
Right? What is the thing that is going to alleviate you of the most pressure? Whatever that is, let's just figure that out, and let's create a process for you being able to do this for this period of time in the future. And if you'll do that, I guarantee we can at least get somewhere. And wherever it is that we get, we'll take note of it. We'll figure some things out. We'll do some math, and then we'll figure out, okay, what's the next step and what's the next thing.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's more of what she needs, just in terms of what she's doing. But there's
some people in their business journey, they're going to need systems and processes, especially if they're going to take on human capital, whether or not that's in the way of virtual assistants, AI, agentic agents even, or interns. And I say those three things because I feel like when you talk about human capital, everybody thinks bringing on employees. That's never necessarily the first step.
Right.
And definitely before you do that, you want to figure out your systems and processes.
There you go.
And how you're going to best leverage other people's time.
Yep.
Because the last thing you want to do is have overhead and additional taxes on top of trying to figure out, how can I best use you? What are my pain points?
Yeah.
Do I have a process? I don't have a process for this. And if you do find yourself in that, probably using that, I think it might have been Michael Espinoza who brought up, like, coming up with your standard operating procedures and leveraging VAs to be able to do that and kind of hold you accountable at a you could call it a discounted rate.
But I like when he said it, though. There was this, it was almost like he was saying, hey, it may not work, but at least you went through some process of figuring out what doesn't work. So we know now, we've got that now, right? And we know what direction not to go. And we kind of understand, okay, we're gonna recalibrate and we're gonna turn it this way about this much, and then we're gonna try this out, right? And so it's just the process of developing a process for yourself. And I think that's what it's saying for her. It's like, hey, look, we don't know. Let's try something though. Like, let's try something in the meantime, because trying something is going to be better than doing nothing, which was a different problem at the end of the day with James when he said, I think sometimes I'm just doing something so that I'm not doing nothing, and that's not helping him right now.
Sure.
You see what I mean? So I feel like there's always like this paradox that exists of, these competing things that you kind of feel like they shouldn't be able to both be true at the same time, right? They're mutually exclusive, and yet they are.
Yeah.
For James, it's different than it is, but James is in something that's way more structured. It's way more organized, whereas for Elizabeth, hers is, hey, we're creating something new.
Yeah.
So,
startup versus hierarchical organization kind of a thing.
Yeah. One needs more free. That's a great book, by the way. Loon Shots, Safti Bakal. He writes a book, and it's about how do we manage the tension between the things that need to be fluid versus the things that need to be structured. And what you need a type of relationship manager that can do both, that can understand the need for this fluidity and this place where we create. And then the other where it's like, hey, look, we need the structure, the system, the processes, protocols, procedures, and we need them down pat, But having that middle ground, and he talks about how there's a certain degree temperature where, water and ice are like there together. It's not all ice. It's not all water. They're sitting there coexisting. And I don't know, maybe that's a good book to kind of figure out where to be on the spectrum.
Loon Shots.
Really great book.
I know Nora mentioned self-investment and how people discount down that one and don't they think they need to invest in all these other things, and we see that a lot in marketing. I need social media support, but they don't think about like investing in their self first.
What does it look like? What does it look like? From both of your perspectives, what does it look like to invest in yourself? And you guys are sitting in marketing seats, the expert chairs of marketing. What does that look like for you guys in the example like you just kind of?
I've got my answer. Do you want to go first or you want me to go?
You can go first.
Okay. So for me, when I was starting my separation from federal service, or you could call it corporate life, whatever, W-2,
Yep.
I was starting that in the beginning of COVID. And I say I was starting that because I was consuming content. I think AJ brought up, YouTube University is free. Free 99 all the way, unless you're getting premium. And I suggest getting premium if you listen to it in the car, because otherwise you'd be watching it.
I don't have friends. We're not friends if you don't have a premium account.
There you go. Okay, good.
Because like when your friend says to you, "Oh, dude, have you seen this?" and they like give you their phone to watch a YouTube clip,
and you have to wait for the skip button.
Nothing annoys me more than there being a commercial, and I'm like, I'm sorry, we're just at different places in life.
So you're that.
We can't do this anymore. I'm sorry. Yeah. Because we're adults now. We could get the premium version and just get to the meat and potatoes of what you need to get to.
For me, and there's a reason I'm biased for video podcasting, because that was the way I wanted to consume content.
Yeah.
And I would consume a lot of it. And self-investment also in the physical form, like getting the right books.
100%.
Learn up your craft and what you want to do and what you don't like, don't like, and how you want to proceed.
Yeah.
And really starting with why. I think you had mentioned, I know Alex, if he was here, he would probably bring up Simon Sinek, start with why.
100%.
But getting that vision down first and understanding where you want to be in 10 years, 5 years, 90 days.
Yeah.
Backwards planning.
Yeah, that's important.
Self-investment.
Yeah, it's the time, it's the confidence too. Getting to that. And, I have some clients now that I try to talk down from feeling that whole I need to be on social media thing. I have to fight it all the time. But then it's to show up, you will have to probably do video, and you don't want to, do you? And a lot of them don't want to get in front of the camera.
Yeah.
And I tell them, posts are great, but if it's just pictures and words, that's just not going to show. So why are we doing this?
Yeah.
You've got to let it go a little bit. And I'm trying by forcing myself to be a little bit more social on social media. But I can only scroll and look at cats and dogs fighting all the time, and elephants, and
it's
it's my favorite show.
It's such a challenge to do the thing. You do this, and yet to get on there and to do this.
But that's it. Part of it is then you're going to have the confidence. Now, what is going to get you to that point?
Yeah.
Do you have to invest in your physical self? Do you have to try to get mentally strong?
Meisie, that's good.
Because I've had some of them say, I don't want to do it. I'm like, well, I don't know what to tell you. We can figure something else out. We'll figure out workarounds or get your employees involved.
Yeah.
Yes.
If we've got to go this way. And some of them love that. So get them to do it for you.
That's brilliant. I love that.
But you have to. You've got to. You're going to have to find that confidence and invest in yourself in some way before you can make all of it work. You can buy all the tools. You can be part of all the networking groups. But if you're not ready to just put yourself there, believe in yourself, whether it's because you feel like there's something physically there that people don't want to see, and that could be right here, all here. You need to figure out how to get past that.
I had somebody called me the other day, and I was actually calling them because, this guy had blown up on social media in a number of different ways, but has a great following, speaks in front of lots of people every week. And I was calling him to ask him a question about something. And he calls and he says, when I called and he answered, he says, Darius, just a man I want to talk to. And I'm thinking, oh, okay. That's what you need. And he's like, hey, I need to know this thing about fitness. And so he's asking me, and the funniest question, he says, I like lifting weights, but I just am having a hard time getting to the gym and this and that and da-da-da-da. I'm thinking about going back to Orange Theory. Is that bad? And I'm going, well, I said, well, man, can I just ask you a question? I said, did you like Orange Theory? He said, yeah. I go, is it something that you could do? He said, yeah. I said, I think the most important thing to do is what you can do, what you will be consistent with and can make that commitment to. to, that's the thing that you want to do. Like, great that you want that thing, but are you going to be able to maintain that thing? It's like my dad used to tell me, he's like, yeah, you want a nice car, but can you maintain that nice car? When that car breaks down, are you going to be able to take it into the shop to get it fixed? Do you know what it costs to get that car fixed?
Yeah.
And so it's I see it that way. And so I asked him a similar question, and he gave me almost like the same answer, because I was asking him a question about social, because I'm like, hey, I need to do this more. And he's like, okay, great, do it more, but just start with what can you do? Like, what are you willing to commit to and be consistent with? That will be an investment back into you. And there was a period of time where I used to be on social media all the time, not because I was doom scrolling, but because I was literally just always posting content every single day of my kids, of working out, of doing this, of doing that. It was just my life. And it was just on there. It was like people were watching me live out in front of them. And they were happy going along for the ride, especially when you get to hear my wife be annoyed with me. Like, that's usually great content.
Yeah.
But I don't know what happened over time, getting busy, and it was something that I lost touch with it, and I wasn't really able to commit to it. And so now I've got to find these new ways, and sometimes it's leaning on other people. That I can be more consistent with being around other people and doing things, and then kind of like capturing that. And so it's, hey, what's going to work for you? What can you commit to? If you're going to invest in yourself, do something that you can commit to. Do something you can be consistent with, and stay after it. And, 6 months time, look up and see where you're at. So.
But that's why having a coach too is important, whether it's business, life, or whatever. If you feel like you can't do it on your own.
Yeah.
Or how do I get over the hump? Then if it's not a coach, it's got to be someone to keep an accountability partner.
Yeah.
I definitely.
An educated accountability partner.
Yeah, educated is a very
not necessarily your spouse
Yeah.
who's going to tell you that looks great. You should just
Or
do
as
that.
my husband says, no one listens to him when he gives pointers. He'll say something to me, I'm like, you don't know. No,
That's
no.
all dads. That's all dads and
Then
husbands.
he tells my son something before he goes into a game. It's got to be another
Okay,
parent
cool.
or a coach.
I thought I was the only one.
Parent or coach, someone has to say it to him.
I thought I was the only
That's a
one.
dad and husband thing.
That's definitely a dad and husband
100.
thing.
Yeah.
Could I at least ask this question? The vision. Go back to vision. Let's think vision, values, and I'm not trying to move too quickly away from the investment back in yourself. I do think that having a coach is an investment that people should make, because there's nothing that I've ever thought of or about doing where I didn't first think of who can help me with this and what is that going to cost me. But I'm always good with the cost, because I know it's going to be for my good down the road. So yes, I do believe in that. But I'm curious, because I have to open, whenever we do a gathering, I feel like it's important that we open that gathering with this concept of what is the vision that compels you.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you can. It's the vision and then values, both important. It's almost like asking the quick question: what came first, the chicken or the egg? Because I think you need both. And I'm curious to know, for the two of you, what is it that you see when you're working with business owners, businesses? Do you have your own thoughts about the importance of a vision and values? And how do you, how do you express that? And how do you express that to a business owner or to the people responsible for running the business?
I do find myself, with some clients more in particular than others, having to get into the almost business coaching space, especially if they're earlier on in their journey, because they need it the most. And maybe they just haven't made enough of a self-investment, and maybe what they have done is surrounded themselves in maybe an echo chamber of their vision. So from the marketing standpoint, there is some marketing that needs to be done early on. It doesn't have to be transactional, and it can be your own market research, but that is a form of marketing, and understanding, is there a supply and demand there? But one of the things that I find is, a lot of the folks I work with, I do have to re-engage, hey, what's the overall goal? What the same client we were talking about with the magazine, we just re-engaged for another year because 43% growth in revenue from where she was, and it's attributable to things that we did in the marketing realm. But in that consultative like annual meeting before like the new proposal and kind of a shift in direction from the marketing realm, she voiced that, hey, things are going great, but I feel like sometimes I would be happier just doing hair. I'm like, okay, so you're a technical expert. Okay. Revenue's working. You don't like managing people. So lean on your manager more. And that's more of like a business coaching. That's not a marketing thing.
Right.
It's like, okay, we probably just need to help you design the business the way you want it so you can be in the business the way you want to be in the business. Because there's nothing wrong with being in the business if you have fulfillment in it.
Yeah.
And it's the right piece and the business can keep moving on its own.
Yeah, as long as the business can scale.
Yep.
Yeah.
So that's just my, on the vision piece. We have to revisit it.
Yeah.
And it can change for some people.
Yeah. No, it's true. As long as, there's an acceptance that vision can change.
Yeah.
We can start day one a certain way.
Yeah.
But life's.
Things
work.
Things happen.
Things happen. Yeah. And you'll probably have to pivot from that, I'm sure, several times, depending on how long this goes. But I've seen a few feel like they don't want to change. I mean, they this is what I'm doing, and they have to stay on that road. And it's like, but maybe that doesn't make sense right now. Economy, something, your customer base shift, something happened, and at times I've had to ask them, I need numbers. Then it's not the big pretty picture, but if your vision is make 3 million by this point or this, so your customers cost this, what's the lifetime value? And then I have to start talking numbers to make them see, okay, fine. We were just going about it an older way. Yeah. And now that's not happening. Yep. I'm not a numbers person. I hate it sometimes, but really? I can nerd out on it sometimes, but others I'm like, ugh. But it is when I notice that some of them are stuck, then it's like we have to play the numbers game because that's your business. It's going to depend on this. And that's where I'm like, ugh, it is a marketing kind of question too, but, because then it really affects how your strategy changes too.
I think, but to both of those, I always feel like I've got to get to something that's very internal and interpersonal to be able to move things so that I can get us to a better place from a more, practical vision standpoint. And I always find it fascinating how much I end up going personal and pastoral in a business setting and in a business context to be able to get to that more structured, hey, okay, now let's talk, let's talk about the model here. Yeah. Like, let's talk about what's the vision for that and what do you want to get to, and then figuring out how to make those numbers work. Yeah. So I don't know, but I think I enjoy that. And it was one of the most pleasant surprises, making a move and a shift from one industry, which is very nonprofit and very seemingly, in the clouds, to something that is more bottom line oriented. So yeah.
I think it's that untapping the values, like you said.
Yeah.
Because you're really getting into somebody's inspiration versus daily motivation that can change. Yeah. And that core belief or value that probably showcases the grit in entrepreneurship. Yeah. And if that's not there, finding that out early on is great for everybody.
100%. You need something unchanging.
Yeah.
Unchanging, unshifting, shift. There it is again.
Shift.
And I think pivot, like on Friends.
I like pivot. I like pivot better. It just sounds more responsible. If I was in church and I heard a pastor be like, "We're gonna pivot," I'd be like, "Who's this guy? This guy he does not have the Holy Spirit."
And if they know, they're just like pivot.
That's awesome.
Nice.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, anything to close or any final thoughts?
I'm grateful that San Antonio is the city that it is. It is not, I don't think it's easy to do things. And I also have a profound respect for how things that are not easy make us so much better. And coming to San Antonio, I had to lean into asking for help, relying on others, building relationships, nurturing those relationships, you know, to the point that now, like, I look at both of you and I call you friends, you know? And so for me, that is a big part of this. And the city, I think the city of San Antonio really shapes that. And we are building community. And so I guess maybe I'm closing by saying, man, thank you guys just for being really great people and really having a passion for what you do and not just the bottom line. So thanks. Thanks for being people that believe in other people, believe in community, and believe in what can be when business is done healthy.
I'm just going to go lean on faith because my boss made me go to a networking event. Mm-hmm. That's where I met you.
Dude.
So it's one of those, and then got to go, but I'll call you later.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And it just went, the city is great about that because I don't know if it's being a military city, so they're so used to people coming in and out. Mm-hmm. Instead of being so cutthroat and win.
Yeah.
It is just, they're very used to that. So they are, a lot of people since I've moved here are very embracing of, and a way of making you feel welcome. So when you find the groups, like this is happening here and seeing people come over and over, and whether they skip a week and like AJ said, I haven't seen you in a while. It's so good to see you again.
Yes.
You know, it's good because it's so welcoming.
Yeah.
And when people feel comfortable within the group, then they'll be more vulnerable and be able to share and then help each other, hopefully.
Yeah.
So it's a good place for this. The city helps out a lot, I think, in that way.
Call to action, where can people find you?
Well, where they can find us is at VentureX on the first and the third Wednesdays of every month. You come on like the 5th. You know, I don't think there are 6th Wednesdays, although I think last month I feel like I had 6 Wednesdays in the month. But it's fine.
I don't know. I have to look at the calendar.
We won't be there any of those Wednesdays. But the first and the third, we will be there.
Yes.
And I would say the call to action is don't be afraid to build your business by building relationships. Come be a part of the community that's happening here that I think we have all invested in. We would love to see businesses grow and be healthy in San Antonio. So come out.